BB851, turn right, heading 180. Order 14 Papa, turn right 245, report localizer established 27.
Today's video is sponsored by the lovely people over at NordVPN, more on them later. New airlines seem to be a common discussion here on the channel, and that's because they're becoming harder and harder to avoid talking about and really to generally avoid noticing. So many carriers have entered into the industry in recent months, and so many groups and also already established airlines have announced plans for new carriers to join the ever-growing industry in, say, the coming years. That only continues, with British Airways and a new rumour surfacing in the past day from credible sources surrounding a new airline offshoot from British Airways, which has garnered a lot of attention and subsequent interest, to say the least. That will be the topic of conversation for today's video, so let's get underway. BA Light, as described by the Indepenet, or even that of British Airways Express, to replicate Iberia Express if you will, is currently being discussed by key members of the British Airways board and in addition the International Airlines Group. The airline, which would launch and be based at Gatwick, would see short-haul operations under new branding and consolidated all in the one place. The extent of this branding is totally unknown at this moment, so it remains to be seen, but what we do know is that the airline would act as a subsidiary for the mainline British Airways. It's an interesting idea, as launching this new airline, if you will separate the international operations with the domestic and intra-Europe from, say, Gatwick and Heathrow. It may allow, therefore, British Airways as a brand to better compete with other low-cost units within Europe, something that, due to the current prices, have seen the likes of EasyJet, in addition Ryanair, and I could list a host of other low-cost European carriers, soar ahead of that of what British Airways was offering. British Airways themselves have come under a lot of fire for their true value for money. People have seen it as not worth the expenses. Obviously, a concern has been the overall recovery of the aviation industry as well, and that has most definitely played a crucial role when it comes to actually discussing the airline even launching to begin with. This can be especially noted when we take a look at international leisure travel, and a subsidiary could focus more on the short haul and lower their overall costs. In addition, hopefully with the UK looking at relaxing their borders, which they have already done to a certain extent, and allowing more travel throughout Europe, it would allow their focuses to also be elsewhere, because from what we've seen even before the global pandemic, and you could definitely say before the pandemic, their international network is where their profits really soared in, whereas their domestic and intra-Europes certainly were not as high as of that of, say, their international operations. I think, if anything, they'd be looking at changing that by offering something like a British Airways Express. The rollout of this new subsidiary would see it fully integrate with the British Airways brand, and also therefore their operations to somewhat intertwine fully by the summer season of 2022, where there'd be a designated international long-haul operations, and then of course you have your subsidiary for short-haul operations out of London's Gatwick, the secondary airport within London. What's worth noting is they'd be hopeful to actually begin operations by the second quarter of next year. However, they'd be fully ready to commence their proper operations out of Gatwick by that summer season. The group, and of course if this is being a new airline as it has indeed been labelled, they would not want to miss out on the Easter school holidays within the UK to help transport families to their relatives, or potentially to go on holiday when the school period is indeed no longer in session. Now onto our sponsor. Restrictions are indeed continuing to flip-flop worldwide, meaning the need for a VPN is, you could most definitely say, needed more now than ever. Having a safe VPN like NordVPN can help protect you in these instances where you may actually be at risk. With some people travelling, some people in public Wi-Fi spaces, some at home and some at work, your information is at risk, like say your airline login accounts. NordVPN can help you to stay invisible online and protect you from unwanted interruptions. On top of that, it allows you to jump to other regions of the world to select the best price plane tickets, perfect to see loved ones after a long time away. Home Wi-Fi configurations for those that are currently in lockdown and not as secure as offices. With NordLynx, this VPN is one of the fastest VPNs in the world, and you can get it by using the link join on your screen, or use my coupon code DJ's Aviation for a 2-year plan, and on top of that you can get a whopping 4 months free as well. As a user of the application, I could personally not recommend them enough. Thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. If you have any thoughts though on the British Airways subsidiary, please do leave them in the comment section below, because I'd most definitely be very interested to hear your take on this and potentially form a lot of the responses into a podcast to create a great discussion over this particular airline. Thank you very much for watching, and I appreciate all the support across recent videos here on the channel. Take care, be safe, and I will see you next time.